And Fred, I need to listen to something because you're transitioning to the question of IEBC, the National Dialogue Committee. This is what parliamentarians said about the National Dialogue Committee report.
We shall prioritize adoption of the National Dialogue Committee's report when Parliament reopens next week. However, that report details statutes or laws, legislative proposals that will enable us to constitute a new panel that will recruit IEBC commissioners.
Majority leader wetu Kimani Ichung'wah, lete ile report ya NADCO mulijadiliana kule, tukuje to reconstitute IEBC afresh ili watu wetu wapate representation, tupate kugawa wards na constituencies na Kenya isonge mbele.
Tupitishe sheria, alafu tupitishe tupatie wa Kenya IEBC ambaye ni wa Kenya wote.
All right, and Kalonzo Musyoka has also been speaking about this. Watch.
Bunge ikianza next week, prioritize mambo haya ili kuwe na Electoral and Boundaries Commission. Hatuwezi kukubalia Kenya Kwanza wa nominate makommissioner peke yao, na tulizungumza tukasema Raila na Ruto ni lazima wakubaliane ni nani atakuwa chairman wa IEBC badala ya huyu Chebukati kuondoka. Na tunasikia wengine wanasema Chebukati awe chief justice. Kwanza tunasema Martha Koome is a chief justice.
Okay, I didn't expect that last line. But lazima Raila na Ruto wakubaliane na atakuwa chairman wa IEBC. And I've come through the entire constitution, the IEBC Act as it is, the NADCO report, and I do not see where that will be provided for. But Senator, you see, already there's a High Court order that directs the current selection panel to conclude the process of recruiting IEBC commissioners. Then there's the National Dialogue Committee report that is supposed now to be processed by Parliament. I mean, how do we walk this journey?
Fortunately, I've been around to see what has happened every time that IEBC has been set up. Sami, I believe that there are certain things that we can disagree on, and there are others we should never disagree on. My conviction right now is actually not even the people who are going to sit in those committees. Those people are going to be given jobs as the commissioners who are going to be running the agency called the IEBC. We are challenged if you were to have elections right now. If anything happens and you need an election and you needed a board which is fully constituted from the IEBC to make sure that the elections take place, we have a problem with that. We are quarreling about what we quarreled about 15 years ago, and which is who's going to be in the board, who are we going to have as commissioners, who do we want to have as chair. I want to plead to our leadership, and Madam Gladys, I really want to plead with the President that under these circumstances, he has to be magnanimous, practical, and realistic about our politics. And I also would like to persuade our leader, Raila Odinga, and all the leaders who are in this, can we sort out the IEBC issue without being cantankerous, annoying, and the usual nonsense that we do as Kenyans? Can we just sit down and say, listen, what do we need to do that is good for the country? Can we get people of integrity? Can we look through the structure of the IEBC and look at everything that has gone wrong with it or something that has gone right with it, that which has been working and that is manageable and that is good, let's keep it. That which we have faced challenges with, let us fix it, and we can fix it because Kenyans know how to fix it. The only thing we are unable to fix is our politics. Everything else a Kenyan will do for you wonderfully. Finally, I want to say this. When you look at the IEBC not being set up constitutionally, right now there are certain areas that are thinking about having their counties increased. There are certain areas that have got such a huge number which is being represented by one MP. The common one that we always talk about is actually Kimani Ichung'wah's constituency, where his voters are 2 million. Yes.
He has 2 million voters?
Yes.
Kikuyu constituency?
Yes. I mean, the population of the Kikuyu constituency itself, the population is 2 million and the voters are more than 240,000. Sorry, they are more than 240,000. That is the number that you find some senators and governors are elected with from certain counties. All right? And we have to be practical and realistic about it. Can we be honest with ourselves? Why would one constituency have 240,000 votes, and voters, and you have one which has got 9,000? And then you cascade that down to CDF, you know, this thing of one voter, 1 shilling and everything. That's why I agree with it. Sometimes you just need to be fair. You can't give one constituency an MP, just like one constituency in Lamu has an MP, and the Lamu Member of Parliament is representing, let's say, 9,000 people, and you have in Kikuyu, Kimani Ichung'wah is representing 240,000, and the two constituencies are given the same amount of money. It doesn't make sense. So these are the things I expect that the president and other political leaders, including our leader Raila Odinga, there are some things they don't have to quarrel about. Because the reality is, Sami, I am there. When the IEBC was being constituted, was it 2009? 2008? I can't remember that. The people who are put there, all of us who were in our ODM, we felt that, this one now will protect us. They sold off. So in Kenya today, even if you want to get an angel to go and help you either win or rig an election, or protect and defend you from not being rigged in an election, the reality is, halfway through, the angel you thought you carried is going to double-cross you and sell off. If that is so, let us create structures that cannot be interfered with. Let us make sure that our law is clear. Let us make sure that when an election is held in Kenya, it's believable, it is fair, it is just, and is sorted out. You notice if you go through, and you're a lawyer, a senior lawyer, you notice that all the by-elections, the petitions, actually, even the people who lost some of those petitions never even complained. They said, I will leave it at that.
All right.
Because they were satisfied with the results because of the evidence that was produced.
Senator, you've told me that Kimani Ichung'wah has 240,000 voters.
Yes.
That is not accurate.
How many are they?
98,750.
Okay, same number.
And no, it's not.
No, I'm saying, I'm looking at the variance.
Sorry.
But the principle
What I'm saying, the principle is you can't have one constituency that has 90,000 votes and another one which has got 11,000, and you give them the same amount of money, and you give them a constituency, and you give them the same wards.
The principle is expounding is sound.
It's sound.
But there are also other issues
forget the numbers.
about the geographical area.
Even when that is, the variance should not be so high that when you find that somebody who's got 90,000 people who's giving bursaries, and they say, and one person who's got 22,000 votes is giving the same bursary, you are given 40 million for Kiambu and given 40 million for Lamu. The children in Lamu will be given 100,000 to go to school. The children in Kiambu are going to get 3,000. It's just the argument I was making, Sami. Okay. And sorry about that error. The last thing I wanted to mention, Sami, allow me to wind up this.
Can I hear Fred and then I come back?
No, I'm finishing. I don't want to come back. My sister, my leader, Gladys, we don't oppose the policies of KK for the sake of it. What we are saying, please tell your teams, tell your PSS, tell the people who are in government to come up with clarity and try to explain to the voters, to the public, what you are doing. What you are doing, some of the wonderful things. I can tell you, look at what Rinturi is doing in the Ministry of Agriculture. Incredible stuff. And yet, nobody knows. You know, Sami, I was shocked yesterday that in Kenya today, is it Ilri? It used to be called Ilri. It's now called Kalro.
No, Kalro and Ilri are separate.
Kalro used to be Kari.
Kalro used to be Kari. There is an agricultural...
No, Ilri is separate from...
Yes, it's
separate from...
Okay, one of those government...
One is an international organization, another one is...
Okay, I'm talking about the local department...
It's Kalro.
It's Kalro.
Yeah.
Sami, Kalro has developed an app where in any part of this country, you can actually know the type of soil, the rainfall, the plants you can plant, That is the direction we want our country to go.
All right.
So when somebody like Rinturi is doing a wonderful job, we are not saying that her government is failing. What we are saying, let the man in charge of housing come out clearly, talk to us, talk to the leaders, talk to the governors, and the president's project will succeed.
Well, it's actually a woman. Yes.
Okay, the woman. The woman.
Fred,
Yes.
your take on this, because, I mean, a lot of suspicion.
I think you're talking about the PS.
I meant the
Because the
PS.
PS is the face of the project.
Yes, I meant.
Well, I'm saying if you're speaking about Linturi, who is a CS, the CS is Ali Sohome. That's the context. But Fred, talk to me about this suspicion that has gone on for so long. I look at the report of NADCO, and yes, there's a change of number from 7 to 9 who are contributing those, but also a heavier participation by politicians. You actually think this is going to be the cure of the IEBC question, but also how do you go around the decision by the High Court?
Thank you, Sam. First of all, I think the change in number is on the selection panel, right?
Yeah.
Now, why is it that this NADCO report is more important and urgent? It is more important and urgent because therein there are recommendations on how to not only reconstitute IEBC that we don't have today, but also to restructure it to guarantee a credible election. And we have said as Azimio that we believe in an electoral framework, system, and design that is widely accepted by the political players, stakeholders, and the people of Kenya, that enjoys that public support. And that's why, if you look at that report, the recommendations on restructuring and reconstituting IEBC are recommendations that we want to urge Parliament to look at them and adopt this report. In any case, Sam, in the report, there was a framework agreement that talks about protection of consensus. And it says that when an issue has been consulted upon, canvassed, and agreed among the coalition leaders, or rather the coalition ranks, then that issue will be ring-fenced from amendment.
Okay.
So that was the agreement. However, when you look at this, we strongly believe that both sides of the political divide in Parliament will see the urgency of reconstituting and restructuring, because there are certain deadlines that are there. Number one, look at the Badisa.
Before I respond.
No. You
It's very
don't worry.
serious
I'll
what
even
you
donate
say.
some to you. Don't worry.
Sorry, I'll give you the chance.
Yes, thank you. The issues that we are grappling with today, you know, there are people who have had no member of parliament for almost a year. Banisa. There are wards, Lugari, I think Kisa West, that also do not have members of county assembly. And therefore, it is important that we look at this issue and agree. However, Sam, you have brought the elements of High Court decision. This High Court decision, the issues for determination in that petition, NADCO was not part of it. It was a separate issue, where the petitioner was petitioning that there are people here who don't have a member of parliament.
What should Nelson Makanda do?
Nelson Makanda and team were appointed in the selection panel to recruit and submit names to the president for appointment for the commissioners. However, this is more political than legal. The issue of reconstituting IEBC is more political than legal, and that's why the people of Kenya, their submission,
they have a court order.
Yes, they have a court order.
What do they do?
They have a court order. But let me just explain. They have a court order that they need to obey and implement. However, if you look at even from Kenya Kwanza side, they all agree. I listened to Kimani Ichung'wah, majority leader. I listened to Aaron Cheriot. They say they'll give priority to the NADCO report because therein there is the reconstitution and restructuring of IEBC. So I think it is upon the Nelson Makanda team to realize that while there is an order here that they should respect, even as, because I'm told they are intending to continue, even as they intend to do that, they should also remember that even if they were to reconstitute IEBC today, even if they were to forward the names to the president today, that team that will be appointed will not meet the constitutional deadline, for example, of delimitation.
So they should not recruit?
In my view, I think they should realize that the issues they are dealing with are more political than legal.
All right.
He's not being clear. He's going back and forth. First of all, first I'll start by the caveat that the NADCO report has been tabled in Parliament and it's awaiting debate. So whatever I say is subject to whatever will happen when it does come before the House. But speaking in my own personal capacity and as a lawyer, what Okango needs to know is currently the law as it stands and as interpreted by the court is that there is a selection panel in place that was constituted pursuant to the law. And contrary to what your team normally says, is that they were appointed by President Ruto. They were not. The selection panel is recommended by law. And the law says a nominee from Law Society, a nominee from the religious group, a nominee from political parties, a nominee from Parliamentary Service Commission, which was corrected by court by making sure that we reduce the number that came from Parliament so that it doesn't become politically heavy. So first of all, that's the law. So unless upon the NADCO report coming to Parliament and Parliament amending the law, actually, the selection panel should proceed as is. You cannot make the law here. You cannot now say, it is legal, yes, but it is political. Are we a banana republic or not? Just decide. That's one. Number two, yes, there's urgent matters that need to be dealt with. For example, the issue of boundaries and by-elections. We agree. And that is why we need commissioners in place. Yes, we are out of time on the issue of boundaries. The deadline is March of this month, which is next month. Of this year, which is next month. But again, that can be cured by going to seek an advisory opinion and extension of time and so on from the Supreme Court. That has to be cured because we can't also disenfranchise the population. And then there's also the talk that I'm hearing that I had Kalonzo say there, that the decision of who becomes the chair must be made between President Ruto and Raila Odinga. That is not legal.
When it is, it was a recommendation of the committee.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. If it's a recommendation of the committee and it is in the NADCO report.
What do you mean?
It was a recommendation.
That?
It was a recommendation that to give credibility to IEBC and given the position that Kenya Kwanza took and Azimio took in appointing the commissioners, the committee recommended that there should be a window for concurrence and consultation in appointing process.
All right. You see, that is just wishful thinking. But also, you're speaking as if Raila is the only opposition. You know, we also have Sabina Chega, who is also a party leader. No, it's my turn to speak. You're speaking. Yes. But what I'm saying is, we are talking about the law. You're talking about personalities being involved in the decision-making process. Remember, Kenya has been in this problem before. We moved away from a politically instigated constitution of the IEBC and moved to developing an IEBC that is a neutral expert, free of politics. When we tried the IPPG format and ended up leaving it to President Kibaki at that time to pick nearly all the commissioners himself, we ended up with 207 violence. So we do not want to be in that situation as a country. We changed and reconstituted the IEBC. So yes, even as the report comes to Parliament, Parliament in its deliberations, and I'm hoping that I will not be sitting, and in fact, if I am, I will request not to sit on the chair because I want to participate in this debate as member of Uasin Gishu County. Because we need to tell ourselves and go back to the Kriegler report. The Kriegler report actually said that the challenges we had with our election process in Kenya was because it became too many the political players were involved. That's why we wanted a neutral expert. So let us wait. But if you're telling us to go back to the IPPG format and bringing in politics into it, that's a reckless experiment which we must not go to. You just need to read that report to go. And then let us go by, and then let us. And I saw something else that again. We're waiting for this to be formally tabled because sometimes when you read certain documentation, you're not sure whether it's been doctored by the press. But like I saw that they said one of the items is that to review the election process, the presidential election process. That means we are sitting in appeal on a judgment by the Supreme Court, no less. I mean, are we throwing away the Constitution and beginning to make up our own rules? So those are the difficult
let's
discussions that are going to be held when we go to Parliament.
The question is raised about that the Nelson Makanda team is in office by law, and if Parliament doesn't amend, they should continue the work.
Yes. Unless the law is amended,
but even
there's no other way out.
Even if you amend the law, how do you kick them out?
Sorry?
How do you kick Nelson Makanda team out?
Okay, normally when laws are made, the law is repealed, then the function ends.
But they're already appointed.
What I'm just saying is, again, we are just speculating. What you're asking me is to speculate how to do it. I'm not going to do that. I'm just saying, unless the law is amended. Because today, when a law is amended and a law is repealed, it ceases to exist and you begin to follow the new law. So I'm saying, as it is, we have a law in place. We have a selection panel that is in place in accordance to the law and the Constitution of Kenya. And any changes would have to only emanate from changing the law. There is no other method. You cannot do it by making a statement on a political forum. That is what we must remind everybody.
Would you be willing, Honorable Shole, to participate in a process that can amend the law to make IEBC selection process more inclusive? Would you be willing?
No, I will say this. Again, when you're amending a law, I would hear you always tell yourself, what's the object of the law? What is the mischief that it is trying to cure? What exactly is it trying to mitigate? And what is the challenge that we are trying to overcome in bringing that law? All those arguments are made before that. There has to be a justification. And then even at that time, it cannot only be, it's not decided by one person, it cannot be decided by me.
Right.
Remember that each parliamentary committee has a team of legislative draftspeople, has a team of lawyers, has a team of economists, has a team of persons who can interrogate this in order to be able to make that decision.
30 seconds. Let's first take a look at the feedback that has come to us at Citizen TV Kenya. Some get to the hashtag to use this daybreak. Or what Kenyans are saying this morning. Chalwood Rosie, what we need in Kenya is a system that can deliver credible elections. Even if you elect angels as the IEBC chairperson and commissioners in a rotten system, elections will not be credible. Let both sides work on effective system collectively and soberly. Frank Orinde, public participation on Finance Bill 2023. The committee ended up presenting a skewed report that did not reflect our views. We do not expect anything different from the joint parliamentary public hearings on the housing projects. They will present views of the president. Okay. Usao, today Shole and her team will explain how self-employed Kenyans will, in almost all cases, make more money than employed Kenyans will pay this housing levy by force. They will, like they are deducting it from salaries by force. I will support it. Okay. Godi Barazawere, as a country, we love giving political matters priority over the critical issues that Kenyan people grapple with daily. It is time we go back on a path of sanity and trained our focus on delivering service to great Kenyan people. So is that it? Okay, all right. So, Senator Onyonka, 30 seconds, what you wanted to say?
I was just saying, what is NADCO?
National Dialogue Committee.
It's a political process.
Yeah.
If NADCO creates an environment where Kenyans are going to discuss and agree how to solve an issue about how they get themselves elected, I think we have to give that a chance. Number two, the president is expected to give his views, which are critical because he is the government in office. But he must always know that we also have to give our views because we are the opposition.
Despite the High Court saying that NADCO is not founded on any law or constitution.
That is true. Then we go back and do what she said.
All right. There's a question that was coming to Honorable Boss. Can you take a look at it? And Loward Rosie is asking, please ask Honorable Shole, what law permits a citizen of Kenya to own a house built on a public land? And why the national government is undertaking devolved functions like housing, which is a prerogative of counties? Why not just do slum upgrading in Kibera, Mathare, and Mukuru?
Okay. First of all, this process is anchored in Article 43 of the Constitution. which requires that the state must take measures to ensure that they provide affordable housing, that has proper sanitation and so on. That is also includes health and many other items. And this is not something that came out of the blue. Kenya is signatory to the United Nations Convention on Social and Economic Rights, which is domesticated in Article 43 of our Constitution. So this did not come out of the blue. And then also, so when government is obligated to do something, if there is land that is government land, that is supposed to be, that land is not for the government to keep and put it in its balance sheet. It is intended to be used for the good of the people of Kenya. And even when you see where the slums are, Kibera is almost 700 acres, but it's actually government land. People, some what are they called? Landlord shacks have gone to build some informal structures there and are charging wananchi for it. So what is actually happening is, that's what government is saying is that same land that some other private person is benefiting, some mafia type people are benefiting from it, let us use it to build houses for these people to be able to buy the houses. So the land is not for government to keep. That's why government land sometimes is donated to build hospitals, it's donated to build schools for public good. Yes, and because the mopping of the money can only be done by national government, and that is why it has to be in collaboration with the county governments. And there are many success stories that are ongoing. In Homa Bay, for example, the last time I checked, the affordable housing was at 4th floor. And kudos to Gladys Wanga, because she has known that her people need it. The people of Kisii desperately need it, because Kisii has got the most fertile land in Kenya, but then everybody is building on the ground.
Well, Honorable Boss, that has been
so, yes. So I'm just saying that so sometimes
she's vouching for her government. I understand, but don't do it wrongly. You're doing it wrongly.
Just a moment. The last one here, someone is asking,
Article 43 is not my government. It is your constitution.
Boss, someone is asking here, what should happen to the contributions that had been taken, or deductions that have been taken between July and December, now that the High Court and the Court of Appeal have said that it should not continue. And actually the High Court said it was unconstitutional.
Okay, the matter has not reached the end. You know, where usually you say something has expired when you've litigated to the last court of last resort in the country. That's the law. So yes, you can't say this has ended. And as someone who's been involved in litigation for many years, believe me, just because you have a decision from the magistrate's court is not the end of it. You go to the next court and the next court. Sometimes you have to double back and go and amend the law and so on. I am an optimist, and I believe that in every process that you do, even in your personal life, you always have setbacks. But do you give up? No, you don't give up. You stand up, you dust yourself, and then go back.
What should employers do now that there's a decision and a ruling of the Court of Appeal?
They will be an advice by the Attorney General.
And I hope they will follow the court orders.
The court orders so far. I'm told even the university, I think UASU, received their refund. So the law is being followed, but it doesn't mean we give it up. The battle is on. And
we are supporting you. Just do it properly.
All right.
And we shall.
Within the Constitution.
Within the Constitution.
I believe
Senator
in everything you've done.
Deputy Speaker Gladys Boss, and Fred Okango, thank you for the time for us to have this conversation. And of course, Parliament, please, Parliament resumes tomorrow. They'll have so much to talk about. You can see from the look of the discussion here. And of course, Ivory Coast are the African champions. Well, who would have thought, especially on how they started this tournament. And Sporty Monday will be speaking about that. Plus, Kelvin Kiptum, who has died at the age of 24. So sad to lose such a promising athlete. And of course, Arsenal won 6 points. Sorry, 6 goals, 3 points. Still number 3. And Manchester United, no, it's deliberate. Manchester United 2-1. Okay, bye. My name is Sam Gituku. See you again some other time.